Welcome back to day 25 of the 30-day coding challenge. Today we're going to be building this chat app. If you're new here, hi, my name's Zoe. I'm a software engineer and former university professor that loves teaching folks how to code. If you're interested in learning how to code or starting a career in front-end web development, check out our bootcamp linked in the description below. But without further ado, let's hop into day 25 of the challenge. So, as you can see, we're looking to build this chat app. And it's going to be mostly a design-based challenge because the only assets that we've been given for this project are the images of the dog and the images of the user. So we're going to have to build all of these elements for ourselves. So let's hop into it. So I've gone ahead and gotten our app up and running. If you do want to access the starter code for that, that's going to be here on GitHub. And then if you do want to access the design, that's going to be on Front End Mentor. It's one of their free designs, so definitely take advantage if you do want to use that. So yeah, this is just our startup app up and running, ready to go. I've dropped in the 4 images that we get from them in the public folder, and other than that, we're good to go. So I'm going to go ahead and just clear out all the styles to start with. We're going to start completely fresh. And I'm going to go to my page folder here. So looking at my design, I think I'm going to have 1 or 2 reusable components, but because there's so much styling taking place, I really want to separate my concerns here. So I think I'm going to be making some sort of like text, like a message. Yeah, there'll be a message element, and then there'll be, I guess, like a payment element. And those are probably our main reusable. And then there's the actual phone itself. So let's go ahead and start creating some components. So I'll say components, new file, we'll say phone. And we'll start with the outer, the larger phone here. So I'm going to go ahead and drop this phone element in here and save that. And then what else do we need to do here? Then we also need these 2 background elements here. And so what these look like, they look like basically just divs with some sort of a linear gradient application, like background color. So I think we could probably drop those in the back. In the background is like 2 separate elements there. But yeah, let's get started with the phone first and foremost. So I think what we want to do is we want to create an element. Let's style the phone element. Start with start with a box. And then we'll say box shadow. And let's look up the documentation for that. Let's look up box shadow. Oops. Shadow. Actually, let's look it up on MD. I'll say box shadow. And 5 pixels, 5 pixels. Cool. All right, so let's do 10 pixels, 10 pixels, 10 pixels, gray. Let's see if that takes. Okay, cool. So we have an initial box. Not too bad. We also want to position it on our page. It looks like these 2 split the center of the page. So I'll go ahead and make a new file. Or I can actually just make a second box here because it's not really that much information. I'm going to say display flex. And yeah, that'll just separate those there. And then what else do we want to do with this box? I think actually I might make this box a container. Whoops, container. And give it a max width. Medium. Okay, cool. And then I think I'm actually going to end up wrapping this whole thing in another box and use that container just for these middle elements. Yeah, and then I'll say the height. Looks pretty good. And then we'll say Align items also in the center. We'll save that. And we'll say the height for this now is going to be 100 view height. We'll say body HTML. I'm not sure if this is going to work, but we'll try. I'll say overflow Y hidden. Okay, cool. That worked. So yeah, we have our initial sort of positioning of where we want the phone. I think it could even come in a little bit more. Maybe we should try a small container. But as I said, this is a primarily design-based challenge, so we do want to kind of take our time with it and make sure that we do a good job. So we have that. Let's get started on the actual shape. So size-wise, height, I'm going to give it about 50 or 60 view height. In terms of the width, probably about 20 view width, give or take, for the phone itself. So put that in. We'll say height, 60 view height, width, width, about 20 view width. And there are other ways you can do this. You could style it based on actual pixels. It kind of depends on your design and what works best for you, and if you want it to be responsive and all these important things. Okay, definitely could be view width. There we go. Okay, that's like a decent outline. It could probably be a little bit bigger, a little bit wider, but I think we're good to start with that. And then what I'm going to do with the borders, let's take a look at the corner radius. It's mixed. Not sure what that means. Go ahead and just give it a value. Okay, interesting. Okay, so I'm just observing the design. So we have this white background here. So I'll make sure and give it a background. We'll say background color is going to be white. We'll save that. So for sure that's the background color there. And then we'll say border radius. We'll say that looks pretty good. Again, I didn't actually fix the box shadow. We'll say box shadow is, what is it? Color, length, offset X, offset Y, and then the spread and the blur. Okay, so I think we can increase the spread and the blur. Yeah, that looks yeah, that looks a little bit better. All right, so we'll go with that for now. Next thing we want to do is create this inner box. So we want to grab that background color here. It's going to be this. So within that box, let's create a second box. Good. And then we'll say height, width, and border radius are the same. We're going to make it a little bit smaller, so I'm going to make it 58, and I'm going to make it 18. See if that works. Okay, not bad. And then what we're going to say for this box, we're going to make it a flex box. We'll say justify content center. We'll say align items center. We'll save that. Okay, not bad. Maybe what I'll do instead is give this some padding of 1 rem. And then just make the height 100%. Make the width 100%. Yeah, that looks a little bit better to my eyes. A little bit closer, you know? So we'll do that. And I don't think it needs 1 whole rem. I think 0.5 should be all right. Cool, not too bad. Next thing we want to do here, oh, we could actually just measure it. Yeah, it's about 0.5. Next thing we want to do here, so we have a couple of different elements. We have this like cutout piece at the top here. We have these different messages. We have the bottom section there. Kind of a couple different things we could tackle. So if we take a look at the cutout piece, if we start there, this will be a good little challenge. So let's start there. Let's say, I guess it's two pieces we need, not just the cutout, but we need this so we can actually see the cutout. So let's make this, then we'll make the cutout. So it's a box again, and it has a linear gradient. Okay, we'll say background color, linear gradient, and then it's going to be this one and this one. Let's save that. And then height, width, 100%. Oops, height, 10. All right. Cool. Not seeing it. I think background color maybe needs some work. Let's say, let's look at linear gradient. Linear gradient. Needs to be background. Width. All right, let's say background red. Okay, there it is. So it is a color issue. Let's see, 100%. Yeah. Border radius. Okay. And so then, yeah, let's say, so it should be linear gradient, blue, red. Okay, so maybe it's just the colors. Let's try those colors again. Let's grab this. Let's grab that. Okay, not sure why I was not working. And then we'll add in a turn. And it's not quite 0.25, it's like 0.125. Except the reverse with the colors. So move this 1 second. Okay, that looks not too bad. Looks pretty decent. So I think we're gonna go with that as our background color for that piece. So that's good. The next piece we need, as I mentioned, is this cutout. And actually, do we want the border radius to be? I think the border radius might be 2 rem on the top, right, and then 1 rem on the bottom. And yeah, it's a little bit more like that. So yeah, then for this cutout, we need a white box. So we'll make another box, I think. And I don't know why I keep making, oh, well, I guess they have to go within one another. So I'll say background color, save that. And then we'll say width, oops. Height. Okay, maybe not quite 50, maybe another 30%. Cool. Actually, width could probably be big. Width could be like 60%. 0, 2rem, 2rem. Okay. And then we just want a center position. So we'll say, or center in the top. We'll say display flex. We'll say justify content center. Awesome, cool. So we have our little cutout now. Good to go. Next piece we need is this sort of like section here. So we have this little arrow. We have Samuel Green available to walk. I wonder if they gave us any of those. They did not. All right. Let's see how much of that we can do. So let's import the image. So we'll say image from next image, and the source is going to be the avatar. So we'll copy relative path. We'll say alt equals avatar, and then we'll say we'll try and give it an accurate height and width based on this 24 by 24. We'll say height 24, width, and this is because the component actually requires you to give it a height and a width property, otherwise it's going to give you an error. And then, all right, so there it is. Little guy right there. And actually, sorry, that was my bad. I did not want to put it in this box. I actually should put it outside of the box. I should probably make this box a self-closing box because nothing happens within it. Okay, cool. That looks good. Let's say display flex. I think flex direction is going to have to be column. And then we'll say align items to the center. Okay, good. And then, yeah, so now for this, I'm going to wrap this lower section in a box and say for this box, it's going to be some amount of margin. Margin top and the bottom. And then we need, oh yeah, for the image itself, we're going to need a border. So border, 1 pixel solid white. And then we'll say border radius 10 rem. Oh, 50 rem. Okay. Cool. And now we have a circle. Next, we need Samuel Green available to walk. So we'll add in a typography element, but I'm going to make another box, just making a lot of boxes here. And we might end up splitting up some of these into other components just so this page doesn't get too crowded. We'll say typography element, which will import. Cool. And we'll say Samuel Green. Then in a second typography element, we're going to say available to walk. And Samuel Green is going to be white, but available to walk is going to be this in terms of the background color. Good. And then size, this is going to actually be font size. Okay, good. And then this one is 11. Oh, jeez. 11 pixels. Okay, cool. Then we need to make this a flex box as well. Looks good. So give it some margin right. Good. And then we need these 3 dots. Say justify content. Oh, not that for there. Sorry. We'll say justify content, space between. And then we'll say width 100%. Okay. Oh, and you know what? I think, did I put that in the wrong box? No, I don't want space between. Or no, I do, but I want to wrap this in another box. I'm going to do those 3 dots. Oh no, okay. No, justify. Flex start, but it should be doing that. I'll say that's defaults. We'll say width of 50%. Okay, cool. We'll leave that for now. Wonder if we can get the little dots. So the dots are basically just, oops, just a div with ground color of white. Okay, yeah, so it's just basically 3 of those, sorry. So 1, 2, 3 in a box of their own. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to make another component, actually. I'm going to call it white dot. That way, I can just take one of these, put it here, and just put white dot. And then when I change the style on them, I can just change the style on one of them. So we'll do 3. Then I'll say margin, oops, margin. Okay. Good. And then for this, we'll say, yeah, justify content, center. Cool. And then we'll say align self. Let's see if that works. Flex end. Or justify self. Flex end. No, okay. So for this one, I want it to be on the other side to the image and that. So if I wrap these together again, if I do this and say display flex, said this before. Can I say justify content, space between? Awesome. Got our buttons, got our top section. So that's looking good. Let's move on to the next piece down here. And to be honest, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to, because this is like 100 lines of code already, I think I'm going to make a new file. I'm going to say phone header, like header.tsx. And I'm gonna take all of this from the linear gradient, go down. Oops. Gotta put it in header. Let's say okay. Looking pretty good. Next piece now. Let's work on, oh yeah, we have the messages. Sorry. So what I'm thinking is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 messages have a pretty similar style in terms of the font is the same size, the shape is generally the same size, and they just are like a flip of one another, and the colors are different. And of course the text is different. So I think I want to create like a base message component and then modify it from there. So I'm going to say new file, message.tsx. We'll start with that. And so let's just mock up this first one. So we'll say, oops, with a typography element. Okay. I should also drop it on the phone so we can see it. All right, so first of all, the text is going to be size 8. Cool. And then and also the text is the color is gonna change depending on what color we pass in. So I'm gonna create some prompts here. Let's say text color. We'll say background color string. We'll say text string, and we'll say alignment string. I'm taking all of those text color, background color, alignment. Cool. And now we're gonna get an error. So we'll say text is this. Excuse me. Text color will be text. Oops. Text color. Background color will be background color. Color. And alignment. Ooh, alignment. That's going to be different. Figure that out in a sec. We'll say text. We'll say text color is going to be this. We'll say background color is going to be this. And then alignment is going to be left. Okay, cool. So that Looks good so far. Let's finish up the styling. So we'll say border radius. Now this is where it gets a little bit tricky. So I think we have our little 2-rem thing going on top here, and then the bottom is something different. So we'll say and then I'm gonna say max width is gonna be 60 view width, or 60%. Okay. I'm gonna add some padding in there. We'll add some margin. Okay, not looking too bad. I think 60% might be a bit much. Let's do 50%. Okay, not bad. And then we'll say oh no, wait, that's not what I want. Sorry. So align, text align. Although no, I want text alignment to be left. I think it's just the way it's wrapping right now. I think that's it. Okay, so we have that. Then maybe the ratios are a little bit off, but let's keep going. So we have the first message. Let's create a second message. Should be pretty straightforward. Cool. I feel like maybe it needs more padding. Maybe that's what it is. Looks a bit better. And maybe this bottom needs to actually be like 0.5 rem. Yeah, that's what that should be. So on the header as well, that should be 0.5 rem. Oops. This is that like sharp corner design. Yeah, that's, I think, a little bit closer, yeah, to what they wanted there. Cool. And I didn't even realize there's a little bit of a box shadow. Very slight box shadow down there. Very, very slight. All right, so next, and then we'll have one more message. Okay, cool. But we're gonna put some stuff in between that. These are all left aligned. If I want them to be right aligned, let's see something, let's say align self, flex, end. Okay, I think we have the header. Say display flex. I'm going to say flex direction column. Okay, it does something. Let's inspect this. See what's going on here. Okay. Or, ooh, what if I say right 0? Okay, no, that's not gonna work. All right, so let's try align self, flex end for now, but we'll do it based on alignment. Alignment equals left. Oops, left question mark. Okay, cool. Looks good. Yeah, so then we want these pictures of the dog, and we want the other messages. So let's drop in the other messages. Let's say drop in this message. We'll say alignment right. Okay. Interesting. So it doesn't go all the way to the right. Okay. Okay. I'm not sure why it does that. Okay. So it's a width issue. Oh, maybe max width here, 50%. There we go. I was putting it on the wrong spot. That's what it was. Okay. We'll say 60%. Cool. So then for these messages, the color is going to be this. And the background color is going to be white. Cool. And then this will be the second message. Awesome. So we have our messages, and then we just need our 3 images of the dog. So we have image, source is going to be dog image. Ah, perfect. Straightforward. Dog image 1, 2, and 3. By 40. And we'll say the border radius is going to be, might be 2 rem. No, too much. Yeah, 1 rem. Okay. We'll have 3 of them. Cool. We'll say align self flex end. Cool, looks good. And we'll say margin margin right 0.5 rem. And then we'll say max width is going to be 60%. And then we'll say justify content space between. And we should also make it a flex box. Oh, interesting that I didn't separate. Okay, well we can also get rid of that. And get rid of that. We can just say, on the middle one here, we'll say margin. Yeah, and I think the border radius is probably a little bit too much even with that. Yeah, that looks probably 0.75 is always the one in the middle. And yes, I could have changed all those at the same time, but here we are. Cool, so we have our messages. Phone's getting a little fat. I think maybe I want to make the phone a little bit slimmer. Or maybe it was always that size and I'm now just noticing it. Yeah, that's a little bit better. Or maybe it needs to be taller. Yeah, it does need to be taller actually. I'm gonna go back to the page here. Move that up. Okay. Cool. So now we need to add 2 more messages. Except they're totally different. So these now, I'm just gonna, these are more, less so messages and more so prices. So I'm gonna create another component, new file, price. And what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna borrow some of the styling from messages. Am I? Let's see. The linear gradient is actually opposite in terms of the turn, but it's, I can borrow that for the price and then just change the turn, see if it goes the other way. And then within the price, we're gonna have just a box. And that's gonna be the border, so that's just gonna be that little circle. Height is going to be 0.75 rem. Width is going to be the same. And we should probably put it on the page so we can see it. So these are going to go after these messages. So this is going to be a price. Okay, so far so good. Going to add in some padding there. give it a max width of 60%. And then let's give it some typography elements. So we'll say take in text because we are gonna reuse this. Interface props, text is gonna be a string, price is gonna be a number, and then we'll say text price props, and then we'll say text is going to be this, price equals 29. We can just do both of them. So at 1 hour, sorry. 1 hour, it's gonna be 49. Okay. And then we're gonna say that's going to be white, size 8. Good. And then this one here, also white, but bold, and 12. So we'll copy that. We'll say 0.75 rem. We'll say font weight is, let's start with 600. Maybe it needs to be a little thicker. And because we did not import it like that, because it's not a client component. Okay, looking good. Oh, and I put that needs to be price. Okay, we're gonna put a $sign next to it. Okay, not bad. Gotta change the border radius of a bunch of stuff, so we'll say border radius 2 rem seem to be sufficient with the dog. Yep, those are circles. And then the border radius here now, it's going to be 2 rem, 2 rem, 2 rem, 2 rem, 0.5 rem. Good. And then we'll say the margin. And again, I could have made like a base component that kind of took in some of these elements and reuse them, which might have been a good idea. No, 0.5 was right. Or at least consistent. I don't know if it's right. Maybe we need a little less space between. Yeah, I think actually 2.5 might be the better way to go. Yeah, looks a little bit better. And then we need to align that text in the price. So we'll say, and it's more of an offer than a price, but semantics. So we're gonna put these two together. The box and the first set of text, because they're kind of left aligned. I'm gonna give that first box some margin right. And we're gonna say display flex, align items to the center. Good. And then for the outside box, display flex, yes, we're gonna say justify content, space between. Good. Okay, looking good. And then for the price, I think I'm just gonna say margin, top and bottom 0, right, 0.5 rem. So it's a little bit more center. Cool, so we have our messages, we have our price option. The last piece we need for the phone now is this actual button where they would like send a message. So now for this, It's going to be pretty similar to how we've been building it. So I'm going to close out a few of these just so we have a few less tabs open. And for this piece here, it's going to be a box. And the background color of the box color is going to be, and because it's not an actual interactive element, it's just like an image we're going to build out like this. But if you were to actually build the chat app, then you'd build it completely differently, obviously. So we're going to do that. We're going to say border radius to rem, width 100%. I'm going to say padding 1 rem, that might be too much. And then we're going to add in a typography element. It's going to say type a message, and the color is going to be this, and it's going to be size 9. Okay, good. What am I not seeing? I'm not seeing the background. Height 100%. Oh, I set the color, background color. Okay, good. Let's take away that height. Good, much better. Width, ooh, 100% is not working. Did I put it outside? No, it's within the box. Interesting that it's going over it. Let's go with 80%. Let's say align self-center. Good. Let's go with 85%. Justify self. I wonder if I can do flex and make the font a little shorter. Add some space as well. Say margin. Yeah, and they'll make the phone just a touch shorter. And again, this is we're just trying to get the design to spec. Okay, we'll leave it like that. And then within this box that we've just made, so we have type a message on one side. On the other side, we want this send arrow situation. And I'm not sure, do we have a key? Yeah, we can use that arrow. So the background color is going to be this, and then there's going to be a typography element, this one here. So they usually give you a suggestion. Yes. And then color is going to be white, and then the font weight is going to be 600. We'll start with that. Good. And then we'll say border radius to rem, width 100%. 1.5 rem. Height, 1.5 rem. Good. Display of flex. Justify content. Oops. Center. Align items. Also center. Good. And then we'll make this one flex box. And we'll say justify content, space between. Cool. I think I'm going to lower the padding just a touch. And yeah, that looks pretty good. So I think we've got our phone. I think our phone is done. The next piece I want to work on is this simple booking. Where is it? Here it is. Yeah. So we want to grab a typography element. We'll say typography. Oops, not that. Drop that in there. It's going to be this color. Font weight is going to be maybe 600. Oh, and then font size. It's going to be 2.5 rem. Okay, cool. And then we'll have this section here with all this text. We'll say color is going to be this. Oh, interesting. Yeah, we don't want it to be too wide. All right. Color is going to be that. Height is regular. We could say line height. Let's say line height 4. Way too much. Line height 3. A little closer. Line height 2. Good. And then flex maybe 0.75. Oops, not 57. 75. Good. Okay, awesome. And then the container that holds them together, we're going to say justify content space between. Get a little space there. And then we'll say align items to the center. Let's save that. Cool. I think we need probably a little bit more margin on the bottom there. We'll say margin bottom 1 or let's say 2 rem. Actually 1.5. That looks pretty good. Okay. Cool. So we have those 2 elements. Let's see now if we can get these background elements to work. So basically it's 2, I don't know, 2 pills. I don't know what you want to call them. 2 ovals. We'll call them ovals. Kind of ovalish. And they're calling them rectangles, which I don't know. So we'll say new file, oval.tsx. And the reason I'm making a file for these is because they're going to be the same size and shape. I don't know, I might end up having to change this. But I'm thinking that I can just pass in the color and like any additional SX props that we need. So I'm going to say interface props. We'll say all right, so it's going to be whatever we put in plus whatever we overwrite. So let's drop the first oval. I'm going to drop it here. I'm going to say oval. And make that optional. Okay. I'm just going to start styling the first one and see how far I get with it. So we'll say we want this linear gradient, so I'm actually going to go back to the header. Yeah, it's similar to the header. gonna steal that again. Drop that in there. Oops. Okay. Okay, cool. So it's just hanging out on the side right now. Another thing I'm gonna have to do is remove the margin from the page. Margin, because it's supposed to go right to the edge of the page. Cool. But it's in a good place. So we're gonna say height is 100 view height. And then we're going to translate it up. So height, 100 view height. Oops. Okay, and then width is going to be probably 40 view width, maybe not so much. Does it cut it off? It does cut it off a little bit. If it was over, maybe 30 view width or 35. Cool. We're going to say position. It's going to be absolute. Good. And then we'll say left 0. And top -5. Okay, so we say top -500. Okay, maybe a little bit too much. Top -100. Good. And then we'll say border radius 4 rem. Just want to see where that gets us. Okay, so let's do 10 rem. Let's do 15. Yeah, and that's about looking like that pill shape. I think the height might actually need to be 150 view height. And then we translate it up even further. All right, and then we'll translate it over to the left. Where does it cut off? On the downward slope. I think it's probably not wide enough either. Let's say left 100. Yeah, and that looks pretty good. And then we'll say Z index -1. Send it to the back. Cool. I'm pretty happy with that. I'm pretty content. Now let's make the second one, because there's one on the right. You can barely see it, but it's there. So what I'm gonna do here for this guy, what color is this? Rectangle and rectangle copy. I'm not sure if that's the right color, but we'll try it. I'm gonna say, well actually first I should drop a second oval. We'll say background. The background color is gonna be this. Oh, and I should move it. Right is gonna be 0. Top 0, right 0. Is it overriding the background? Oh, it's background. I need to override background. Okay, there we go. Definitely not the right color. Let me see if I can grab it from here. Okay. So this is gonna be the color. Good. Top is gonna be like 100. Yeah. And then right, left 0, right. Oh, I should take out don't actually need it to say oval. Left unset, left undefined. There we go. Okay. Right 0. So basically I need to override whatever that left value was, because it was still set. It was still saying left is 0. 0 is not nothing, but undefined is nothing. I could maybe put, I wonder if null would have worked. Yeah, null works as well. Okay. So we'll say right minus 100. What did I do for the left? The other one was, yeah, left minus 100. So we'll do right minus 100, top 100, and then overflow hidden. I'll just get rid of that. We don't need that. We don't need 2 cancellations. And is that it? I think the only other thing that's missing is in the header. Next to Samuel Green, next to his image, you can put a little box, you can put a little typography element here. Put that there. Where did we put the other one? It was in phone. Borrow this. We'll just put it there and make it this one. We'll say, let's make it white. We'll set the margin right 0.5 rem, and then we'll set the width to be 0.25 rem. Oh no, that did not work. All right. Cool. I think that's pretty much it. Yeah, so we built our phone. We did all of these customized stylings from scratch. The only thing we didn't get from the app was just the images of Samuel Green and the dog. One thing I would have changed if I did it again, I would get icons. I would like install an icon package from Material Guide, but because it was just these 2 icons, it didn't make sense to do it right at the end. But if I was polishing this up, I would definitely get those icons and have it just, you know, kind of perfect. But we created these background elements. We absolutely place them. And then we have our sort of just information about the app. So if you enjoyed this video, please give it a like. And if you want to see more content like this, feel free to hit that subscribe button down below. And if you want to see the rest of the videos in this challenge, I'll leave a link to the playlist up here so you can check those out. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.